Welcome back to Proper Madness. I'm happy to have you back if you're a returning listener. If you're a new listener, my name is Sabby, and I have a very unique perspective on mental health. I believe wholeheartedly that we can turn anything that we have been through and alchemize it into bettering ourselves mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It helps you feel less alone, to know and understand that the way out is always through the eye of the storm. Grab a cup of tea. If you're not a tea drinker, grab your coffee, and let's sit down and tune into ourselves so that we can learn to connect to other people. We never know the weight of our words and how they might help someone. You know, it's funny. I told so many people I'm taking a break from the podcast. I'm going to step away for a little bit, figure out what I want to do with it. But honestly, I think if I take a step back from doing something that I enjoy, from speaking on things that I've overcome, that I am currently going through, that I have moved through, that I have wisdom from because I've moved through it, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. I think today, it's the spring equinox today. There's a different energy in the air right now. Everything just feels more alive. I had this very crazy day today in a good way of all the mental barriers that I've currently been working through in the last maybe couple months, of identity, of spirituality, of being more in tune with myself. My platform for a very long time has been my own form of therapy, which I don't think is a bad thing. But sometimes, I think when we're really in our emotions and we haven't quite processed it yet, and we share that really quickly, yes, it can be helpful, I think, to a lot of people. And I definitely don't regret, any episode that I've done. It's good to be raw. It's good to be vulnerable. It's good to express yourself in the moment. It's good to get that stuff off your chest. But something I've been learning a lot lately is there's quite literally a time and a place for everything, including your own emotions, including how you express them and when, including how you show up. I've recently gone back to therapy, which was honestly the best decision I've ever made. I think because I've gone back to therapy and I have a safe space where I can just process all the trauma I've been through, I don't have to do it on here all the time. I mean, I feel like it, cathartic, healing, messy. Very, very messy. Because sometimes I'll talk about the same things over and over and over. And it's almost like I'm talking about them over and over and over again because I haven't processed it. Even my tea times, all those things too. I don't know. I feel like this is the best I have felt in quite a long time, because I'm moving through my emotions. I'm with the therapy that I am doing. It's all, shadow work and reconnecting memories that I have repressed, that I thought I dealt with, that are actually showing back up now. It's in how I'm showing up daily with other people. I think because there was a good chunk of time where a lot of really dark things happened, my brain kind of compounded it into one time frame. And when I went to on-site, which I've mentioned about 1.5 million times on this platform, but if this is the first time that you're tuning in, hello. I went to this beautiful, amazing place called On-Site in Nashville, Tennessee, in 2019, and it changed my life. In fact, it's what helped me start this platform. And the last time I processed all the things that I had been through, it was like a 2-week-long, intensive, therapeutic experience with no phones. I wasn't around anyone. I was away in nature. It was amazing. It wasn't easy. It was not easy, but with that, I was able to process things and move through it. And then, time passes. 6 years later, right? Oh my gosh, 6 years. 6 years later, I was always kind of inconsistent with my platform. Because to be honest, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just threw a camera up, started recording and talking into a microphone, doing YouTube, trying to do other things, like trying to be like other people to get my stuff out there, not realizing that my story is probably the most important thing that I can tell. And if I can do that in bits and pieces and give you examples of what I've learned from them, that would be the best way to do that. However, I shouldn't be doing it in real time with you. I have a much more positive mindset and outlook on things lately as well. After going to therapy, after working through some things that were still coming up and doing the work that I'm doing on myself and just kind of prioritizing my own self. I think we neglect prioritizing ourselves for the sake of personal development. And I'll say that again. We neglect prioritizing ourselves for the sake of personal development. By that I mean, with everything we do in life, there has to be an underlying intention behind it. A lot of people dive into the personal development and mental wellness atmosphere, not really thinking and understanding the why behind what they're doing and the purpose behind it. You can read all the books you want. You can go to as much therapy as you want. You can do all the biohacking health routines. I've been there. All you want. But if you're not doing it in a purposeful way, and you know why you're doing it, and each time you're doing it, you're fully showing up for yourself presently in that moment, you're not just going through the motions, that's the only time it's actually going to benefit you. And I'd say, I had a good chunk of time in the winter where I was really diving inwards, and I did a podcast about that, about quantum leaping and your reality and, self-development. And I was just very immersed in my own experience in my own body and really cueing into how I was feeling because I was moving through each emotion, no matter how uncomfortable it was. Fast forward now, New Year starts. I have a lot of goals in my head that I want to accomplish. I have a lot of things that I want to do. And I almost got stuck in that rat race again of, I'm going to work on myself and do all the things for the sake of doing it, not understanding the purpose behind why I'm doing it and not fully showing up. And so on my way home from the gym today, it was funny. I was working out and it was the first time that I was aware of how present I was in my body. That I was aware of how I'm currently showing up for myself in that moment. And the awareness, if you catch your awareness in that moment of how you can come back into yourself, how you can integrate into yourself while you're doing something for yourself, it will mean so much more to you. It was the same thing with spirituality. I've gotten a lot more in touch with my spiritual upbringing with God and Sikhism and that whole spiritual modality, but I'm making my relationship with God my own relationship. I'm taking the things that I'm reading, that I am immersing myself in. I'm going to temple at least, I'm not going to temple every week because that's not realistic for me. But I go a couple times a month, and when I do go, it's with the intention of, no, I'm going to show up for myself and to connect with God. I'm not just going to just go through the motions that everyone else does when they go practice any sort of religion, which I have a lot to say on that. If you have intention behind what you're doing, that's when it benefits you. That's when you come home to your body. And because my relationship with God has gotten so much healthier and way closer and much more grounded, it's allowed me to get more grounded with myself. And whether or not, you believe in God or whatever you believe in, have something that allows you to come home to yourself, to surrender to yourself. Anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Have something. Because your external world is going to be so chaotic at times. And there's going to be so much you can't control. Things are going to be happening left and right that you won't be able to understand why it's happening. But if your connection with yourself and a higher power and your spirituality, mostly your relationship with yourself, is strong, it's solid, then it doesn't really matter what happens outside of yourself because you're so strong inside of yourself. And so I felt lit up and inspired to sit down and record this episode. It's going to be a lot shorter than normal because it turns out going to therapy has me sending shorter voice memos to people. I think because I have a lot more space in my mind and a lot more mental and emotional clarity. And 2, I have someone that I can actually talk to about all my stuff. That's a safe space that I trust. I learned a lot of very, very hard lessons within the last couple months. My friendships have changed completely. I'm actually becoming closer with the friends that I grew up with, the friends that I went through the hard times with, the friends that have lived the same types of pain that I have, but in different fonts. I can't take credit for that line, even though it's brilliant. I saw that somewhere today. But it's true. Same writing, different fonts. Those are the people I'm connecting more with. And people who, I talked about alignment energetically. And when you're in alignment energetically, you're going to welcome in the same type of people. Because my energetic alignment shifted, I think, so quickly, so fast, a lot of situations kind of blew up in my face of my old way of doing things, my old way of operating, my old way of existing, and everyone and everything that no longer aligned with old me, gone. Happened like one giant earthquake and tower moment, sure. But it happened. And it happened strangely when I started getting closer to God and spirituality and connecting more with myself. Because I was less attached to all those experiences. I was letting my anxiety, my paranoid thoughts, my what if situations kind of I was allowing my emotions to drive the car that is my reactions to people and circumstances. Instead of understanding and observing, taking a step back and going, okay, how can I see this in a different way? How can I see this in, all right, what's the lesson here? And how do I need to change myself to elevate so that this doesn't happen again? And intention and grounding, I think, is everything. I think as a society, we're so used to running and racing and chasing and living for validation and doing things that and a lot of people are spiritual and they're not spiritual, and it kind of cracks me up because spirituality now is, more than New Age spirituality, is used as an excuse to run away from your trauma, yet at the same time it's being used as a way to deal with trauma, but not really. You put all these shiny things over it and you're not really dealing with your stuff. You're not doing the deep work. You're not doing the shadow work. You're not diving into your actual subconscious and understanding all these situations that you've been through to understand how you're showing up. But then once you understand it, you have to do something about it and you have to move differently. There's a lot of people who go to therapy and do a lot of personal development and they don't change. They don't change because they think that just showing up is going to do something and that they don't have to do anything in return. No, you have to do the work. That's something I'm learning to say more of is I feel that when we are investing in ourselves intentionally, we're able to really show up for the people that care about us. And then in turn, we're able to accept the love and guidance and support and clarity from the people who really do love us. The people who have been there for us through everything, who've never left. They've watched us go through whatever we need to go through, and with beautiful grace and compassion and understanding, they allow that to happen and then allow us to come back when we're ready. To me, that's the highest form of connection. I can't tell you how many people I like after I started going to therapy again. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. But I reached out to, I did like a Sabby's apology tour 2025. Not really an apology, just once I went through all these massive like oopsies. Is that what I'm going to call it as a grown-ass woman, an oopsie? Once I went through all these mistakes and all these hard lessons and all these repeating cycles that I finally just broke, I took a step back and I went, all right, who in my soul do I know cares about me that I've run away from because I was running away from being cared for in that way? I was running away from that love because a part of me felt like I didn't deserve it. And so reconnecting with those friends has me so much more in touch with myself. I had like a mini identity crisis today. It was really funny. I've been working on how to improve my branding creatively. I'm trying to create more content that's more cinematic, that's a little bit more intentioned. I'm a little rusty and I'm just having fun with it, and I'm just thinking of these ideas, but I'm actually scripting things properly. You can still script something and have it be authentic as long as it's in your voice and you're not copying someone else. Yeah. All my tea time videos are off the cuff. I literally just sit here and talk to the camera and take out whatever I think is okay. There's a little bit of intentionality with like a beginning, middle, and end, but the rest of it not really. And sometimes your message and your storytelling can get lost. So I've gotten more curious in how I can expand those skills a little bit more, how I can improve myself a little bit more in that area. And I'm just chucking things on Instagram left and right and letting whatever lands land. If it doesn't, that's okay. It's just, in my opinion, my playground to be like, all right, well, let's try this and see what happens. If it doesn't work, on to the next. We just keep going. I've had so many little mini identity crises on and off on my platform because it's really hard to navigate yourself and figure out who you are privately, on your own, in your own life. It's harder when it's public. And back when I had, way more, I'm not attached to the numbers anymore, but just for example's sake, back when I had all the followers, right? After I took that long break from social media and I just was like, F this, I'm done. Screw Instagram. I lost so many, I think, 10,000 followers. But when I had gained all those people, I wasn't really being myself. I was just hiding. So really, truly, what did I lose? I lost people who wanted to see a side of me that I was only showing because I wanted to be validated, not because I was showing up as me. Now that I'm showing up as me, in whatever capacity that is, because we all have layers, we're all multifaceted, we all have so much duality to us, I'm allowing all of it to exist. Everything. If it's messy, it's messy. If it's not on brand, it's not on brand, whatever. And what that's doing is it's bringing up a lot of uncomfortable feelings. It's bringing up a lot of, oh my God, am I weird? It's bringing up a lot of, oh, holy crap, is this just the most cringy thing ever? Again, that brings me back to a lot of us are doing personal development without really understanding why we're doing it. Is there a deep understanding of what could come up when you do sit inside? And when I say sit inside, I know you're probably like, what do you mean? What do you, Sabby? What do you mean sit inside? What? When I say sit inside, I mean, think of it this way. When I feel like my energy and my attention is outside of myself, it feels more like there's a buzzing around, my mind's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and I can't really feel and think and ground in my own thoughts, feelings, and emotions. There's no grounded silence within myself. And I don't mean like no thoughts in your head, I mean your thoughts. When I'm outside of myself, I'm looking for validation. It's like ping, 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 ping. It's like a little ping pong machine in my brain of what is this person thinking about me? What is this? It's just chaos on the outside, but it feels like it's trying to reach my brain on the inside. I don't know if that makes any sense. But that's what it's like to operate not with intention. But ultimately, you have your own thoughts, feelings, emotions, desires, and needs inside of you. But sometimes the external pressure of the people that we're with, romantically, our family, our friends, social media, society, can pull us away from ourselves to tell us what we should be thinking and feeling, or to give us our own experience and tell us what we're experiencing, because we don't want to identify it and we don't want to feel it. When we don't want to feel it, we're running away from it, and then you're just going to be looking to everyone and anything else to validate you, your experiences, what you're thinking, and what you're feeling. And I used to do that all the time. The people that I'm no longer friends with, I relied so heavily on what they thought about me, what they didn't think about me. I relied so heavily on my need for their validation to make me feel better about myself. And I had to come back inwards, and then I reconnected with the people that have always been there for me. And then, honestly, I have a deeper relationship with my family too now. And I always have. I've always been very, very, very close with my family. But I can see and understand and observe what's going on without absorbing it, without identifying their thoughts, feelings, and experiences with mine. I'm starting to get curious about things instead of making assumptions. I still have my moments. I'm still a soul in progress, if you will. But ultimately, it's up to us to make intentional changes within ourselves daily. You have to make the commitment to, okay, if you're going to, I'll walk you through my, morning routine. It used to be all the crazy biohacking stuff, right? Like ice bath. Oh my gosh. What else was there? There's just a lot of crazy things. I'd work out 5 a.m, which I enjoyed for a while, but then as I got older, I was like, my body is like, this is a no for me. And I was trying to operate like a man. I was watching all these men on social media in really, good like mental health space, and they were doing these ice baths and the sauna and the working out early, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that, not realizing I'm a woman and my body does not function the same way. 1. 2, your morning routine and ritual and anything you do for yourself, it's not just your routines, but anything you do for yourself, has to be done because you genuinely want to do it to better yourself. However, it doesn't mean do whatever you feel like doing, eat a bowl of ice cream in the morning. No. If you know that meditating is going to be good for you, breath work's going to be good for you, prayer is going to be good for you, do it. You'll get lazy and you won't want to do it. However, the initial intention of why you started it to begin with is what matters and what you should always come back to. Always, always, always. This morning, for I think about a week, so my routine is, you can, maybe it'll inspire you to do whatever you want to do. But when I wake up, I do breath work for 10 minutes and then I meditate for 15 minutes. That was the first step for me for a long time. And then, because our bodies are incredibly smart, they adapt over time to what you're doing. So I went, okay, well, I need to push it a little bit. I can't just do box breath and vase breath. Even though it's very grounding, I don't always need it. Maybe I should try something else. I tried different breathing techniques that were more challenging. However, I got the most out of it afterwards. And there were moments where the laziness wanted to creep in and I was like, oh, I don't know, I should do what feels good. Again, to the beginning, there's a time and place for everything, including your emotions. I went, okay, well, we're feeling a little lazy about that. No, we're going to keep doing the breath work. I'll bargain with you a little bit and we'll do a little less of meditation. However, even in meditation, you can meditate all you want, but if you're not actively in your meditation trying to get grounded, trying to, focus on your breath or whatever type of meditation you're doing, it's not going to help you. You can do it all you want and, do all the metrics, but if you're not doing it again with intention, why even do it in the first place? So I pray every morning and then I read. There's this Sikh, I'm going to butcher the name because I'm whitewashed Indian. So I'm not going to say it, but there's a very holy book that we read. I read a chapter of that, or just a passage of that. And then I have a journal that is dedicated to prayer and connecting with God. It's mostly meant for people who read the Bible. However, I've just taken it and made it my own. And I love the intentionality behind it because it's not a lot. It's I get 3 little questions in the morning and then 3 in the evening. And it's always connecting me back to myself and back to God. And it's just really, I've really liked it. And then after that, I sit with my tarot cards. Now, any normal person would be like, what? Huh? I'm very intuitive, right? I'm very, very intuitive. I don't think there's anything wrong with tarot cards. For me personally, I love doing it because it's a way for me to check in with my emotions. Every morning, I sit there and I pull a few cards and go, all right, what is my intuition telling me today? And I think that's a beautiful way to just connect with myself. That's just how I do it. But I have started incorporating my walks in the morning now. And they used to be 15 minutes and because again, I have to fight through my inner laziness sometimes. 15 minutes, then 20, now they're 30 to 35 minutes. And that's enough for me to get grounded, to again connect with myself, connect with nature, get outside, come back, and then I start my work day. After my work day, I go to the gym. If I don't go to the gym, I'll go to dance class. I point to the pole in front of me that I haven't touched. Go to dance class, yoga, or do something to move my body if I feel called to. Again, I'm a woman, it's a little different. And then after that, I do my evening routine, which again is very grounded. It's just okay, I've gone out into the day and poured all this energy out. Let's call it all back in. So I do some energy work in that. And then I finish up with that prayer journal. I have another journal that's more for shadow work and stuff, but I try not to get too heavy before I go to bed. Okay. It's not always what you do, it's the intention behind what you're doing and how you're doing it with everything in life. If you're working out in the gym and you're training and you're doing a bunch of reps, well, okay, if you're not doing the reps properly, but you're doing them really fast, you're prone to injury. 2, you're not going to get much out of it. You're just going to be really, really tired. So if you were to, there's no third. I was trying to think of a third reason. I can't think of one. If you were to slow down, think of the actual movement and the mind to muscle connection, then do it. I'm doing chest press because I did chest press today. But if you were to think about the actual movement, that would benefit you way more in the long run, and you'll see better results because there's intention. Start asking yourself more and more how you can lead with intention versus action, and how you can align the two together, and how you can move forward from that. This whole platform is about self-alchemy. We all can do it. We all can take the moments that we've gone through and use it to our benefit. I went through a lot of messy, harsh moments in the last couple months. I could have let it keep me down. I could have made an excuse out of it. I could have said, oh, woe is me. No. I was sad and, stressed, overwhelmed for a little bit on and off. But I know how powerful my mind is. And if you've listened to any podcast interviews I've been on, you know some of my story. But I go, no, my mind can change this. I go, am I going to allow this situation or these situations or what's happening to keep me down? Or am I going to use it as fuel to go, right, okay, we lost sight of ourselves. We were acting in a way we didn't really like. Okay. I'm going to sit with these emotions. I'm going to feel these emotions. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to feel this. And then I'm going to dust it off, get right back up, go, all right, what can I learn from this and how can I move forward? And it's not going to be linear. You're going to have moments where you fall back down. You're going to have moments where you feel a little lazy and you're like, maybe not. But what matters is you just keep moving forward with intention. That's it. Know your intention and know your why in everything. And you'll get way farther ahead than anyone else, because all the people that are sprinting, all the people that are using validation and approval and the shiny surface level stuff to get ahead and to be successful, the people who fake connection just to get people to like them, the people that use certain types of spirituality as an excuse, the more connected to yourself you are too, the farther ahead you're going to get. It might take you a little longer than other people. I know that that's what's happening with me. Trust me, I get so frustrated sometimes because I'm not where I used to be. I'm not as, quote, successful as I used to be. But there's a reason for it. If I had stayed in such high success for so long, would it have brought me to where I am today to learn what I needed to learn to get me to where I'm supposed to be? No. So don't pay attention to the people that are sprinting. Don't pay attention to the people who are trying to convince you to do things you actually just don't want to do. Whether that's your spouse, whether that's your friend, whether that's your family. For me, it used to be my family. Of all these pressures, societal pressures. Stick to your path. Stick to your spirituality, your connection with yourself. If you believe in God, stick to what God is telling you. Stick to the path that God has you on, and you'll get farther ahead. And when you get ahead, it'll be stable and it'll be permanent. Yeah, hopefully you've gained something from that, and I'm excited to be back. Don't expect these to be weekly. You're probably going to see more like cool cinematic type of storytelling content from me. Some podcasts when I'm feeling inspired, like shorter ones like this. But yeah. So yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this in your lovely little ear holes, Please follow, please rate it, and send it out to anyone who you think you might need. Or what? Okay, my brain died. Anyways, you know the drill. I love you guys. Thank you for always supporting me. Thank you for always coming here. And I really truly hope that you've gained so much from what I have shared so far, and I'm excited to see the transformation of where things go. Other than that, have a good morning or evening or afternoon, whatever time it is that you're listening to this, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you ever want to chat more about anything that this podcast is about, you know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and good old TikTok. And be sure to stay tuned for my Tea Time with Sabby episodes. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube or whatever streaming platform you happen to be listening to this on, I encourage you to follow, like, subscribe, and rate this so that it pushes it out to whoever else might need it.